There's been a lot of discussions lately about what the next Animal Crossing game on the Nintendo Switch could be. I think most people generally agree that we won't see another main game on the Switch, as usually we don't see 2 games per console and there's much longer gaps between their releases. Spin-offs are of course a possibility, and we've even talked about ports of previous Animal Crossing games. Specifically, Animal Crossing New Leaf tends to come up a lot. But as it turns out, this might be completely impossible, and we may never see a port of Animal Crossing New Leaf on the Nintendo Switch like a lot of people really want. But why exactly is this? Why could Animal Crossing New Leaf not get ported as a deluxe version to the Nintendo Switch? Well, I have a few theories as to why I don't think this will actually be possible. Although certainly I'm hoping that I'm wrong. A few months ago, I made a video about the prospect of an Animal Crossing New Leaf port coming to Nintendo Switch, and it seemed like a pretty realistic idea at the time. After all, it's a really popular game, and Nintendo has ported over loads of different 3DS games to the Switch. A really good recent example was Miitopia, and it was definitely super successful. In fact, it might have even done better on the Switch than it did on the 3DS, which definitely could be the case for Animal Crossing New Leaf as well if it made it to the Switch. However, a lot of really good points were raised in that video about why it may be impossible for New Leaf to ever come to the Nintendo Switch as a port. First of all, we have to start off with a pretty major reason, and that is that Animal Crossing New Leaf of course uses the dual 3DS screen, which means that both screens are an integral part of the gameplay. Now of course the Nintendo Switch does not have dual screens. There is no separate mode like there was on the Wii U where maybe this could work. This means that if Nintendo wanted to port Animal Crossing New Leaf over to the Switch, they would have to make some pretty significant changes. Now, of course, Nintendo has adjusted some of their other 3DS games to work without needing the dual screen, but with Animal Crossing New Leaf, the dual screen plays a pretty integral part. First of all, the town map is actually displayed here, which of course is an incredibly important part of the game, and it'd be super inconvenient to get around if you couldn't see this. But okay, maybe they could actually move this to the top screen like we've seen in Animal Crossing New Horizons. This would be a fairly significant change, but it's still something they could do without too much effort, I feel like, as this is how it is in Animal Crossing New Horizons. But an even bigger problem comes up when you consider that this is where your inventory is as well as your bells. That would definitely make things a lot more complicated as there are a lot of different moving parts here. This definitely means that if Nintendo wanted to incorporate the bottom screen, they would have to make some fairly significant changes for it to work, which really isn't in the nature of a port. They want things to be fairly simple so that they can easily bring it over to the next console. Before we continue, I wanted to say that this video is sponsored by Disney Emoji Blitz. You can download the game for free using my link in the video description. I'm also hosting a giveaway for a $25 Nintendo Switch eShop card, which you could even use to play Happy Home Paradise if you don't have it. Disney Emoji Blitz is unlike any other match-free game. Each emoji has its own unique power-ups, and you control what to use, letting you strategize with each game that you play. I love the Mandalorian, so Mando is my favorite emoji, and he's just one of many to collect. You can also use the emojis that you collect in-game to text your friends, which is really cool. The game is also great for collectors, and if you enjoy collecting emojis, new ones are added every week and month. There's also different emojis with different categories like silver, gold, rainbow exclusive, and so many more that you'll really enjoy. Use my link down in the description to download the game. The link works as a creator code, so anything you spend within the game will help support me and the content that I make here. I'll also be hosting a giveaway on Instagram to reward you for playing the game. I'll be giving away a $25 Nintendo Switch eShop card. To enter, all you have to do is download the game using my link, get to level 20, screenshot that and send it to me on Instagram at Crossing Channel. If you've entered one of these giveaways in the past, you will need to get to level 25 as a new challenge. I'll choose the winners in a month from this video going live, and once again thank you to Disney Emoji Blitz for sponsoring. Talking about things like inventory, it's fair to say that if they did bring New Leaf over to the Switch, a lot of people may consider it a significant downgrade to New Horizons. Now don't get me wrong, I think Animal Crossing New Leaf is an amazing game and there's a ton of fantastic content there, but it also lacks a lot of the incredibly convenient quality of life upgrades that we now know and love and instantly recognize with the series that were introduced in New Horizons. Therefore, playing this may feel like a step back, and not necessarily a nostalgic step back like playing the original game or Wild World as such, but maybe just a bit of a downgrade. Now, of course, they could remedy this by adding in some of those quality of life updates. This wouldn't be unheard of for a port. They've done this with a lot of ports that they've brought over to the Switch, so I definitely could see them adding in some of the quality of life upgrades, like maybe an expanded inventory and such. But without a ton of effort and almost a complete overhaul of the game itself, I don't feel like they could get it up to the standard of Animal Crossing New Horizons in terms of modern upgrades. I do of course get that for a lot of people, they probably do not care about that, but we also have to consider the newer audience of Animal Crossing that never played Animal Crossing New Leaf and is used to all of the improvements that New Horizons brought. The upside is that we would get a lot of content that we are missing over in Animal Crossing New Horizons, especially things like Tortimer's Island and the various different mini games that you can get, as well as things like the different shops and shop upgrades, which would be really cool and in my opinion would kind of compensate for a lack of those quality of life upgrades. But looking at it from Nintendo's point of view, I could definitely see how they may consider this a bit of a downgrade. Of course, the graphics are totally different as well. They look nothing like they do now in Animal Crossing New Horizons, which has so many high definition textures with tons of little details. So once again, that would definitely feel like a bit of a downstep for a lot of people. And this could possibly be a reason for people not to purchase the game if they feel like they've already got their money's worth with New Horizons. Another feature that have to be changed entirely or maybe even completely removed in a port is the Happy Home Showcase, which is run by Digby. This place definitely could not work on the Nintendo Switch as it relies on Street Pass. Sadly, Nintendo never decided to add some kind of Switch passes system. If they did, then maybe this could actually work really well, but sadly it is not a thing, so they would have to completely remove this, which means that likely Digby would not have much of a role at all in the port. Maybe they could actually give him some kind of new role to keep him busy. That definitely wouldn't be unheard of for features that just don't really work on a newer console with ports, but overall it would definitely be a shame to lose this feature as it's something that I definitely associate with Digby and it would be highly missed as it was such a cool feature for its time. Getting rid of it would feel like a bit of a downgrade from the version on the 3DS and you wouldn't want to be missing out on content, so why would you play the port? It's also entirely possible that the online version of Tortimer's Island where you could meet up with strangers and chat with them wouldn't make it into the Switch port either. This would definitely be for safety reasons as Nintendo is incredibly cautious about this kind of thing. They could perhaps fix this by just removing the chat function, that way players couldn't give away any sensitive information like they often did in Animal Crossing New Leaf. But maybe they just wouldn't want to go through the effort of this and would just take it out completely, which in my opinion would be a huge downgrade and something that would lessen the quality of the game overall, even if they added something else in its place. After all, Tortimer's Island is such an iconic part of Animal Crossing New Leaf, and there's really nothing like this feature in any other Animal Crossing game. Now, with that all being said, I still feel like maybe there is a chance we could see a New Leaf port on the Nintendo Switch. They could make some of these changes if they wanted to have the game adapt for the Switch, and like I said, we have seen them port other 3DS games, so it is not technically impossible. But it has to be said that it would be a lot of effort for them to do this, and is that something that they really want to go through for this game? I think it's much more likely that they would instead work on new spin-offs as there are so many different potential ideas that they could come up with. Perhaps they will port over some past Animal Crossing games. Wild World is one that I'm confident will come to Nintendo Switch as it was actually on the Wii U, but I don't know about Animal Crossing New Leaf. I certainly would be incredibly excited if it did though. I feel like it would really revitalize the community and people would definitely jump on board with it. But let me know in the comment section down below, do you think that we will ever see a New Leaf port on the Nintendo Switch, or is it basically never going to happen? If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to leave a like. If you made it to the end, then comment Bob's Gang down below so I know that you did. And if you enjoy these videos, be sure to subscribe and turn on channel notifications for more. I want to say thank you to these channel members for supporting me and the content that I make here. Their contributions allow me to keep making videos. If you want to support these videos and get some great perks for doing so, like access to our members only Discord, exclusive Bob emojis and live streams and much more, then click the join button down below the video or the link in the description.